If you're anything like me, you're probably thinking, Jack, what the hell is a universal law? And I thought that too. I'm very new to all of this. But recently I came across a concept called universal laws. And it's essentially an explanation of the workings of reality, how you can bend reality and how you can bend your experience with the world so that you get what you want. And they call it being on like a success wave, how you jump on the success wave without huge amounts of effort and trial and tribulation, and how you avoid the negative waves in life and how you don't get pulled into negative shit. There's basically universal laws. I'm learning it from quite a niche book, which I'll share with you in this video. But I think this book will have a huge impact on my life. So I wanted to share just a few of the things I've learned so far. And these are really based around emotions, the universal laws around emotions, which some of these concepts were very new to me, but quite endearing, if that's the right word. I like the ideas of these concepts, so I want to share them with you, my lovely people. First one, say no to the feeling of guilt. It's a chapter in this book about guilt because it's such a destructive feeling, and it was the first time I've heard guilt talked about in this manner. In this book they discuss never feeling guilt again, and the reason why is because being guilty, number one, it's one of the primary causes of an inferiority complex. You automatically think everyone's better than you because you're guilty of something, and it makes you very easy to control. If you are guilty of something and you admit your mistake and you feel guilty in yourself, it allows you to let other people control your life because you think everyone else is virtuous and everyone else lives perfect lives. But the reality of life is everybody's guilty of something, and the only way you punish yourself is through the guilt. The world will have what it has to say about who you are as a person, but your guilt should never come into it. If you do something wrong, you ask for forgiveness from your God, for example. You ask for forgiveness from yourself because you've made a mistake. Your conscience gave you two choices and you took the choice that you knew went against your conscience. That's where the guilt ends. You forgive yourself for the thing that you did and you say no to guilt in your life, because after that point, there is no point in being guilty. You will get your punishment, you will get what you deserve, but you harboring guilt about something just allows other people to control you. And we see this very often on social media. There's some people that get cancelled and there's some people that don't. For example, Logan Paul, he did that suicide forest video in Japan. And afterwards he felt so guilty, he kind of punished himself with his apologizing to the camera, saying he was so sorry, when really we all knew he'd intended to do what he did on that day. And when he had all that guilt and he started acting in a guilty way, it made the world punish him because we didn't like that he was kind of inauthentic. Whereas you see people that they do something wrong or they say something that's against the status quo and they just roll with it and they just go, yeah, fuck you, that's my decision at the time, I don't give a fuck what any of you think. You're unable to punish them because they don't punish themselves. And independence and dignity are what we value most as humans in other people. When we see their independence and dignity, we find it very endearing. We like that in a person. And when we see someone feel guilty for something they consciously chose to do, we don't feel that way about them, and it makes it easier to punish them. And somebody that is a guilty person, if you have a guilty conscience right now, you'll accept bad treatment from other people. Whereas you don't need to do that. That's only going to make your life worse. So if you've done bad things, ask the Lord for forgiveness and leave it there. Say no to the feeling of guilt. Very powerful stuff. Number two, inferiority and superiority. In the blink of an eye, things can change. You can become rich or you can become poor. No matter how high you are, you can fall. No matter how low you are, you can rise up. Which means you're only a few steps away from either of these things at any time. Which means there's no reason to feel inferior to others or superior for others. You have to consciously remember that at any time the things you've made of yourself can be taken away. And at any time, if your life is bad, you can improve it and get better. So there's no need to look down on people that don't have the things you have, because you don't know their story and you don't know how much luck's played into it, or bad luck, and you might not have done as well in their situation with their trials and tribulations. And you shouldn't idolize people too much, because again, you don't know how much luck paid into it, you don't know how much help they got, you don't know if they're on a different time frame to you. So this is a very interesting concept for me, because I think as you accrue things and you become successful, as we all will that watch my channel, that is the purpose of this channel, is to empower you and make you a better man. Keep a check on yourself to make sure you don't look down on people that are in different circumstances, and only focus on you, the man you're becoming, not the things you have. And if you're currently feeling like someone's way better than you because they have all this stuff, understand that you too can have that stuff on a very short time frame, and there's no need to feel inferior to everyone else. Gratitude, such a big one. You will never find fulfillment or pass your current standard of living without the ability to be grateful for what you already have. If you hate your current life and what you already have and you can only think of more, your current life too will be taken from you. You will be brought down even further so that you can learn gratitude for the things that you had and learn to appreciate the life that you had. That's just the way, according to universal law, that's the way the world works. Whereas if you can be a positive person that's grateful for all you have, it leaves a huge space to welcome in more to your life. And I remember a pivotal moment for me in my life where I was in Thailand, I was running out of money, I was going to have to go home, and I was a little bit miserable and angry at the world because I was like, why isn't this working out for me? I don't have anything. Why can I not just be rich? And I remember a pivotal change where I just decided, I looked around at my life and thought, this is actually fucking amazing. How many people get to even go on a journey like this and do this kind of thing? And I started to be grateful for everything that I already have, the money that I had, the fact I had a roof over my head. And I decided I'm just going to be happy with what I already have right now. And of course I'm going to strive to be better and I'm going to keep going after what I want, but I'm going to be happy right now. And it switched my mindset and I just was a happier person and a better person to be around. And lo and behold, so much more came into my life. Another interesting concept that sort of grabbed my attention from this book was you get what you don't want. And this was so obvious to me in hindsight. I've recently had a fight, my first professional boxing match. A lot of you would have seen it if you follow the channel. And I was so invested in it. I was putting everything into it, all my time. But I had this key thing in my brain from the very beginning of my fight camp that I was consumed with. And that was, I cannot lose this fight. That was all I focused on, really. I was very kind of tormented at this time during this fight camp because I was so obsessed with the result and not losing. But the problem is, the more we fear an outcome, the more power we give it and the more likely it is to happen. So no matter how hard I trained, no matter what I did in my life at that time, I don't believe I ever could have won that fight without switching my mindset to not focusing on the result because my vibration was so off. I was so scared of losing that I lost. We must relieve ourselves of the outcomes, good and bad. You must not focus so much on winning, focus so much on what happens if you lose, but only focus on the process. If I'd only decided, well, I'm doing a fight camp, who cares about the result? Just going to train fucking hard today. And I was just a light-hearted, funny, nice, positive person that I am normally. If I took that into my fight camp, I would have trained harder. I wouldn't have gotten so mentally fatigued, and I probably would have won the fight. But the thing was, I focused so much on the outcome I didn't want that it became my reality. Loving unconditionally has always been a strange concept to me. It always seemed kind of simpish. If you love someone unconditionally, you keep giving them your love and they don't give you anything in return, why are you loving that person? And this book helped me reframe the way I see unconditional love. You're still not simping for someone. You're not loving someone that doesn't love you in return or respect you. You have your boundaries and you love yourself and you're happy with yourself. But when you do decide that you have found someone that respects your boundaries and they are the right person for you, you love them without trying to possess them. And I think a lot of the modern masculinity culture, and I've probably been guilty of this myself, talks about you can love a woman but then you own her. And I think this just doesn't work because it gives you this stress and an evil in your mind, because the love that you get back is never ending. You always need more. It's never satisfying. But if you decide just to give love away without a need for a return from anyone that you give love to, often when you're freed of the outcome, that's when it comes back to you, and because you don't need it anymore. You're already happy with yourself and you're happy with the situation. And you don't need that love in return. So people can love you back because they feel there's no evil there, no malice in the way that you love them. You made the decision to love because it was the right decision and you gave it away at that point. And you think of love as something you give away as a gift. Money, money, money. Money's quite an interesting topic. But this is just some overarching concepts. It's not about the analytical side of accruing a lot of money, but more about how you think of it. When money comes in, be grateful for it. Treat it with love and attention. You must give some love to money and some attention to money because it's so pivotal to our lives. And when you spend it without regret or worry. Don't worry about what you spent because you know you can always get it back. That's like simple abundance thinking. But an obsession with money makes it unattainable. And that's the reason why is because money is never the goal. Money is just a vehicle. It helps you live the way you want to live. It helps you become more aligned with the person you want to be and live according to your rules. And that's its goal. But when you sacrifice everything else in your life just for money, then you've completely missed the point. The money was never the point, just what it bought you. Just the things that you were able to do, the person you were able to become. In order to get money, start living the way you want to live when you have money. Start trying to tailor your life to that way now rather than waiting until you've got the money. And I did that when I moved to Thailand. I didn't have financial security. I didn't have loads of money coming in. It was a risk, and I took the risk and I started living the way I wanted to live, and I became happier and joyous, and I enjoyed the way that I was living. And lo and behold, the money came to me because I was on the right path. But most people get it totally skewed, and they sacrifice their whole life. The thing that actually matters, they sacrifice for money they can never spend, because then they get too old. And when they're old, they can't spend the money they accrued, and it's just a backwards way of thinking of it. So money, of course, is massively important in your life. But make living the way you want to live and becoming the person you want to become the most important thing, and money will just help you get there. And when you start living that way, the money will come to you. If you make money the goal, it will steal your happiness. So that brings us on to, Jack, how do I channel my desire for materials? And I feel this just as much as anyone else. It's normal to desire material things, but don't let them become an obsession. Don't obsess over material things. They should be momentary sparks of inspiration, and you turn them into action, you turn them into the process. The more you care for materials, the more you cherish the material things, and maybe you get your dream car. Let's say you get a BMW M3 and you start treating it like Gollum treats his ring in Lord of the Rings.
My BMW M3, my precious, nasty little hobbitses, get away from it.
The more you bring, the more you make that thing a pivotal part of your life, of starting to become part of your personality, and you base your value on it, the more likely it is it will be taken from you. And lads, that is all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you can take some of that stuff and implement it into your own life. I love every single one of you. Have a fucking good day, and I'll see you on the next one.